One, two, three, everybody listen when I say use the dollar. There we go, use the dollar.
Hi there, I'm Michael Caldwell. If you're anything like me, you're probably wondering, why are the banks such a big deal right now? Why do these handful of executives get to make terrible decisions and then the government come in and bail them out for $700 billion? Why am I hearing things like the Great Depression Part 2 is coming? I'd like to take the time to explain to you why the banks are more important than any other industry in the economy. First, we'll set up our diagram. This will be a theoretical diagram of the American economy. All trade in the American economy goes on between households and firms. This involves the final goods market, where firms sell their goods to households, and the resources market, where firms receive resources to build their goods from the households. Households receive their income from the firms through the resources market. They provide labor in exchange for income. Though it may appear that firms own resources, that can't be true, because firms are actually divided up into shares and owned by households. The households then own the resources transitively through the firms. So the argument that firms are actually providing their own resources, pulling the households out of this diagram, doesn't hold water. So let's finish our diagram. Firms exchange cost for the labor, then they produce goods and send them to the final goods market. They receive revenue in exchange for these goods. The households then take the income that they made in exchange for their labor through the resources market and purchase these goods. So let's say we have a firm that starts with $1,000. They're a big screen TV manufacturing firm and decide they're going to exchange $1,000 for labor and resources to purchase the TVs. The $1,000 then goes to the household in exchange for labor and resources, and the firm has now produced a television. The television and the $1,000 now go to the final goods market. There they're exchanged, the household purchases a television, and the firm earns $1,000 in revenue. Theoretically, this is the way our economy should function. Firm expenditures should always equal household expenditures. That way we could always trade evenly and money would circulate. But we have a problem. For every dollar a household makes, they save some portion. For the purpose of our example, we'll say that they save 20% out of every dollar, leaving 80 cents to be spent. So let's return to our original example. The firms have $1,000 to purchase the resources necessary to produce their television. They purchase the resources and labor from the households, exchanging $1,000 for the household's income. The firm now produces the television without issue. The household, though, is no longer willing to spend $1,000 in the final goods market. Because they save 20 cents out of every dollar, they're only willing to spend $800, saving $200. This $200 is now removed from the circulation. So we need something introduced in the economy to bring the $200 back into circulation. This is where the banks come in. With the introduction of banks, households no longer want to keep the $200 under their mattress. So they invest it in the bank through a savings account so they can yield interest. The bank then takes this $200 and loans it out to both firms and households. Let's say they loan $120 to the firms, who then reinvest that $120 into their final goods market, and they loan $80 to the households, who then use the $80 to purchase more goods in the final goods market as well. If you take the $800, $120, and $80, you now have the original $1,000 that had been going into the final goods market. One of the American economy's #1 protections from inflation is the banking system. Households will always save money to plan for the future. If the banking system weren't present to refunnel that money into the market, then the government would be forced to continue reprinting money. This would cause inflation to skyrocket, making the dollar worth nothing, and our economy would fall apart. This has been Michael Caldwell on why the banking industry is important to America. I hope I've been able to help you understand why the government and so many leading investors are so worried about this banking bailout. Thank you, and until next time, happy trading.